Hey guys, EBPMAN here. We're back looking at the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, and that's because we just recently received a major update to the S7, and this is happening across all major carriers. So Nougat, which is Android version 7, was released. The version of Android 7 that was just released is so different that it's like having a new phone. And what I wanted to do in this video is give you some tips and tricks and things that you should be considering now that you have this new operating system, and also what you should do immediately after the upgrade. Let's go ahead and check out some of these tips. Now, the first thing we're going to do is let's pretend that you've already gone through the upgrade. It is a big upgrade. It's over a gig in size. And what ends up happening is I've heard already from some of my friends, and also as I've upgraded maybe 10 phones at this time, that some of you are starting to experience some lag. It's kind of slow, and you're probably not happy with the new version of the Android operating system on your phone. So what I'm going to show you is the first thing you should do after doing the upgrade, and that's how to clear your cache. Now, that's done really easily. All you're going to do is turn off your phone. You're going to press and hold the volume button, the power button, and the home button, all three at the same time. Let me walk you through how that looks. All right, so what we're going to do, as I mentioned, is you're going to press and hold these three buttons at the same time until you see the startup. So what I'll do is I'll just press them all at the same time. And you'll notice that you got this little blue message come up. We're going to put this back in place so you can see what's happening here. It's going to say that it's doing a system update. Don't panic. Nothing is happening at this time, so don't worry about it. Now, it is going to take a couple seconds to get through this process. Maybe about 60 seconds. So once again, let it go through the process. It's not going to break anything. Eventually, we're going to see a little Android guy show up. So what I'm going to do is going to pause this video, let it get to that point, and then I'll show you what's next. Now, once it goes through that process, you're going to see this little Android guy. At this point, you're probably panicking. Remember, don't. Because now what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for the next screen to come up, and that's going to take maybe another 30 plus seconds to happen. So I'm going to pause, and then we'll come back and see what's next. Now, after maybe around 60 seconds, you get to this screen, and let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit to it so you can see what's going on here. So what you do is you get to this screen here that's going to give you some options. We're going to remove the phone from the holder here, or the stand, and what we're going to do is we're going to use our down arrow buttons right here, or our volume controls, to come down to an area that says wipe cache partition. So you're going to go to that wipe cache partition, and what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of any files, anything that's left over from the upgrade. This helps clear things up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure I'm there, so it's highlighted, wipe cache partition, and then I'm going to press the power button once. Now it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm going to say yes by pressing the bottom volume button, and then what I'm going to do is press the power button, but I want you to see what's going to happen here. All right. So now that the cache has been cleaned, all we're going to do is do a reboot. Now keep in mind that you're not going to be breaking anything. It's not going to reset your memory. You're not losing anything at all. So now the next step is to do a restart. Now, the reason why we want to do this is because at times there's stuff just left over that takes up the cache partition, and by doing this it just makes things run much more smoother, especially when you're going through such a significant upgrade as this. So remember, it's going to take some time. It's going to take just don't panic. Go through each one of those steps, and it's automatically going to get you to the step that I just showed you, and that's going to clear things up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about tips. We're going to talk about everything that's changed and why this is such a great upgrade. It's a very different I would say experience in many areas, but it's also a great upgrade. So let's talk about all the tips and tricks and things that you should consider now that you've upgraded. All right, so let's first talk about the first thing you're probably going to notice when you start your phone after the upgrade, and that's notifications. So we're going to bring our finger down right here, and you're going to notice that the notifications has changed quite significantly. So you have your notifications coming up, and what you now have is the ability to peek, and this is what I call a peek. So Facebook, YouTube messages, you'll be able to just swipe down and see more detail of what's going on in those messages. You may also find that you have more notifications coming up because your notification features may have been turned on completely. So that's one of the first things I just wanted to highlight, that you do have now, I would say, more robust notifications, and you'll notice now at the very bottom here you have notification settings where you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to modify these notifications, because once again, at least in a couple cases, I noticed that all the notifications were turned on, so I turned some of them off. So this is an area that you'll want to visit just to keep your notifications in check. Now the next area that has changed is also your toggles. And so I'm going to remind you, there's a couple ways to access your toggles. One is swiping down like this, right? But then also is that you have the two-finger swipe. And when you do the two-finger swipe, you're going to notice that more of your toggles are going to show up. So you'll notice here I have, if I do the single one, you're just going to get the short row up here. And if I do the two-finger, I'm going to get a full list. So what's changed in the toggle area? First of all, obviously the colors have changed. But one of the things that has been introduced now is you have a couple controls. First of all, you'll notice that I have Connect to PIA. PIA is a VPN software that I use when I'm traveling and also as I'm connecting on public Wi-Fi. So now you can access in your toggles specific VPN type solutions. And I'm going to show you how I got it there because it's not going to be there by default if you do have a VPN solution. The other thing that you'll notice is that you can access now your hotspot from on screen, so you can tap that to turn on the hotspot feature. You do have blue light controls, so if I turn this on, it does change. You'll notice slightly the color of the screen, and I'm going to go into how to configure the blue light feature so that you can have it automatically controlled. You do also have a performance button, and we're going to look at performance really quickly. So with performance, what you can do is you can change the way your phone performs from a optimized mode to a more powerful mode. So notice here, it's going to increase the brightness, the screen resolution, and there's a lot of different type of modes that we're going to take a look at. So let's go ahead and let's focus first on performance, and then we'll look at some of the other features. Now, as with the previous version of Android, your toggles have multiple functions. Tap once to enable, press and hold to configure. So I'm going to press and hold on the performance area. And now this is what I had mentioned was different. So we have the ability to go optimized, gaming, entertainment, or high performance. When you change these different settings, there's a couple things that are going to change. If you choose gaming, you'll notice some of the configuration changes are going to change. And it's going to turn things on. If I choose entertainment, again, it's going to change the resolution, increase the brightness, and also do some things here. If I do high performance, it's going to warn me about that this may drain your battery because you're high performing and it's changing the resolution as well as the screen brightness. And then you have optimized. You could also personalize some of these things further. So you can go ahead and kind of modify it, very similar to what you find in Windows. So I find that this is a welcome addition to the change to the Samsung S7. The next feature is the blue light feature. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to press and hold. And when you go into it, what you have the ability to do is to determine, how the blue light feature is working. So if I turn it on here, you'll notice that the color changes somewhat, and this is great for night viewing, and you have the ability to modify the opacity here. But you also have the ability to have this auto on and auto off. Notice how it says sunrise to sunset. You can have a custom schedule based on timing. So if I go into custom schedule, I can set the start and end time, or I can say sunset to sunrise, or manually turn it on depending on, let's say for example, if I'm in a dark area and the brightness bothers my eyes. So blue light is supposed to make it easier for you to fall asleep. It's supposed to also is soften your eyes in really dark situations, and it's a feature that you can just enable automatically as I have it here. Either turn it on now or have it sunrise to sunset. Now you also have the ability, if you notice here there's these two dots, it just indicates that there's more features that you can go to. So what you can do is just swipe over here and you'll see other things. So you have private mode, which we've talked about, and you can look at my tips and tricks for the S7. We also have NFC, so if you use the tap function, make sure you have that on. And then what you have is the always on display. So from this area here, you can actually configure what your always on display looks like. You can just turn it on or turn it off, and that's also a shortcut that now you have on the screen. So let's go back to the top screen again. Now the next thing I want to show you is how do you customize this area here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some modifications by going here, and then we're going to choose edit. And now what you'll find is that if you do have a program like PIA or some other VPN, HMA, or any other version, it's going to show up a little icon here in the very bottom. What you can do is just by simply pressing and holding, you can drag it up here and drop it anywhere you want. You can also reorganize any of these just by moving it into the location you like. So for example, if you think that you'd like your VPN function over here and your Bluetooth function, is not that important, you move it over to the side, you can do that. So you can configure how everything is going to look on your screen here from a toggle perspective. Now we're going to spend some time looking at mobile hotspot. I'm going to show you some configuration features that are in some cases not new, but I think many people don't know about them. And this is how you can get like the best experience when using mobile hotspot. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold to get into the area, and then I'm going to show you some of the configuration options. So I'm just covering up half of the screen so that my password and my hotspot doesn't come up. But a couple things you can do is you can actually change allowed devices, set your timeout settings, and I think that this is important. Timeout basically allows you to control what happens when no one's connected to your phone as a hotspot. Hotspot features do take up more battery life, so having this function turned on, so never timeout or timeout after 10 minutes, pretty much means that if you're not using the hotspot, it's going to turn off automatically. And this is a feature that I always recommend. You could be more aggressive, say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 60 minutes, but it's something to consider when having a hotspot feature. Now the next part on mobile hotspots I want to show you is some of the advanced options. A couple things I like changing is this area right here. So what I wanted to do is we're going to go ahead and modify this. But notice how I have use 5G band, so 5 gigahertz band when available. By doing this, it really improves the performance of your hotspot, and this is something that you should consider because most hotspots, and when you're in the airport or any public location, are running on 2.4. So let me show you how you can modify that. Now previously with the older version of the software, you had a 2.4 band or you had a 5 gigahertz option. In this case, in order to enable this feature, all you have to do is select this area right here. So you go in and say use 5 gigahertz bandwidth available. So that's going to allow you to connect much faster, and also if there's other hotspots or Wi-Fi going on, which there's a lot nowadays, it's going to bypass and all that noise and allow you to connect much faster from your laptop or tablet. So now that we're done with the notifications and also the toggles, let's go into settings because there's a lot that's changed there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through several of these that would make sense for you to modify and change to really get the best experience from your phone. So we'll start from the top down. We're going to skip over a lot of things, but we'll just go into some of the things that either will serve as a reminder or something that is new. Now starting in connections, and this will be just a reminder, I want to take you down to the actual more connection setting. And under more connection setting, you have printing. You can print now from your cell phones, and it prints as well as it does from a laptop or a tablet. But what you need to make sure you have is, first of all, you have a wireless printer or a network printer that will support printing. So if you notice right here, you have a Samsung printing service and you have an HP. I don't have Samsung at home, so all I have is an HP, so I've enabled this feature. As long as I'm connected to the same network at my home, when I go into any of my applications to print, I can print directly to my printer. Now if you don't have that there, all you have to do is add the plug, and over here you'll notice that there's Canon, there's Epson, there's pretty much all the brands are there. And once you've added it, it will show up when you either do like a share to printer or print to printer, depending on your application. But printing is something that's really possible, and it works really well from your cell phone. Now another feature that is overlooked quite often is this little area right here. Let's get out of this, and this is the search function, which you could use your voice or you can actually type something in. So you notice that it also keeps your recent searches. So if you're looking for a feature, can't find it because the screen has been completely reorganized, that's how you can find it. But let's go ahead and go into sounds and vibration. Not a lot has changed here, but one of the things I just wanted to highlight is the fact that there are now suggestions. So as you're going through and you may be looking for something, you'll notice at the very bottom of the screen you're going to see some suggestions. You do have the ability to, it has an equalizer, to modify your audio experience, and this is something that's also very much overlooked. When you have a headset connected, you can modify your equalizer, you can adjust your bass and treble, and you notice that this is not a left and right, but this is bass, treble, instrument, and vocal, so you make this adjustment. And there's some really nice features here that many cases are overlooked, something that you should really consider because it's going to transform the way you listen to music. Now we're going to skip over notifications because we went through that already, but we're going to go into display. And on the display, you notice my blue light filters there. You do have the ability to change the font size. That's one thing that I noticed, is that the font size is a little bit smaller. So you may want to come in and adjust the font size, and as you do it, it's going to basically show you, what it's doing right here. So you notice this is what it looks like with a text perspective. This is what it looks like when you're selecting things. So it gives you kind of a preview. So you can choose the fonts that you'd like to use. You can download additional fonts. You can make things bigger. You can make things smaller, and that's going to help you. Now, one thing I've noticed is at the top here, where it has your Wi-Fi and information, the font is pretty small. I haven't yet figured out how I can modify that. So this area just works in the application area, the chat windows, those type of areas. It doesn't affect the top yet, so I've got to figure that one out because that is pretty small now. Now, one thing that you may want to do, and I'm going to go into the icon frames. Let me show you the difference. This is something that I noticed when I did the upgrade because I turned this off. It kind of bugs me. But Samsung has done this, or Google has done this to kind of give you the ability to have all your icons the same weight. And when you turn it off, you notice how they're not all the same shape. So if you're like some people who like to have everything look the same with the circles or the curved edges on your icons, you can turn that on, or you can just do icons only like I do, just to see the icons as they are. I prefer this mode, but this is just an option that I wanted to share with you that you can turn on. Now, on the edge screen has some neat features. And so here you have your edge panels, and you have, if you're actually using an Edge, Samsung Edge, you can use the side to bring up functions. So I'm going to bring the side here, and you'll notice how I have some applications. And as I swipe, they continue to change. Now, this is going to be a new feature, device maintenance, that I want to talk about in a second. But you can add the device maintenance panel to the side screen as well, and access that. So we're going to see that shortly. But right now, we're just going to go back to the screen and just make sure that you know that this is where you turn it on. Not much has changed here, but it's just a quick reminder of what's available there. Now, not much has changed in the wallpaper and themes area, so you can explore that. Under advanced features, you do have the ability to smart stay. You can turn this on if you'd like. It means that as you're looking at the screen, if you're reading something, it doesn't turn off. It's going to stay on. You can determine how you work with games. One-handed mode, if you have small hands and you want to be able to modify how this works, or how the keyboard and everything will shrink to the side. This is very useful when you're using the Note series or the larger phones. I don't find it much of use here. You do have smart capture, palm swipe to capture, so that's like just going over like this to be able to do a screen capture, and several different I would say gestures that are here. You do have the ability to enhance the image quality of your videos. And you can determine which videos it's going to take place. So it's just going to give you better quality, blacker blacks. Colors are going to pop out a little bit more. And that's something that I turn on because the screens is great as it is. Now, this probably happens to be one of my favorite features that I was missing from the Note 7, outside of it catching on fire for some people. But this is my most weighted feature, and that's device maintenance. Now, with device maintenance, you got a couple things going on here. This does use like clean sweep type technology, and it will basically look at your battery, what's taking a battery, performance, storage, and it will just clean things up. So if I do optimize now, mine is pretty much on top. It's going to go through and look at if there's anything that needs to be cleaned up so that I can get closer to 100. So this is great if you experience lag and you find that the phone is not running as it should. You can go into this application and just check things. You can also go into specific things. So for example, if I go into performance, I can get to that performance area here as well if I want to change something. If I want to look at storage, I can look and see, hey, what's taking up space, and have it go through and do a cleaning. And right now there's really nothing to clean because I cleaned it before. But you can click on it and it's going to find all old APKs, cache, and it's just going to get rid of it for you. So that's a nice feature that we have there. You also then have RAM, and RAM is you have the ability to clean up the RAM. So this is going to show applications that are running. And you notice that there's 400 megabytes of applications that are running right now. And what you can do, if there was something here, you can actually determine which applications you don't want it to shut down. So right now what it did is it cleaned memory, but what will happen is as memory is being used, and I had done the clean earlier, you would see all the applications that are here. And let's say for example one of them is Samsung Pay. You can actually check it so that it doesn't get turned off because you may be using it often. So again, this is again a feature or a function that exists in the Note 7, but was lost obviously due to the recall. So this is has that clean sweep technology built in for you. So a great way to keep your phone up to date and running fast. Now another tip, because this is such a powerful, I would say, application, you wish this was on your home screen. So if you go here, you can say add shortcut to home screen, and now a shortcut has been added. Now you don't have to go in here. All you have to do is go into the home screen and then tap it, and then you'll get to this function. Now once you do that, it's going to show up here as device maintenance. All you do is click on it, and then you get to the application or the device maintenance screen where you can do the optimization. And remember, if you're a Edge user, you can swipe, and as you configure the edges, there's also one here where you can tap things and optimize things in either of the categories that you need to. So if you feel that your phone is overheating, you go into battery. If you feel that your storage is out of space, you can go into storage, or you can go here and just optimize everything. Now, applications hasn't changed much, but just as a reminder, for those of you who may be struggling with space, if you go into applications, you can tap on an application, you do have the ability to change where your application is by going here into storage. So if you have a memory card, you can change this and put this on your SD card, which is going to free up some space on your phone. Something that I highly recommend. That way you can keep your phone running as fast as possible, and you can use your SD card to the best possible way as well. Now, let's what we're in right now is in security. Let's go out for a second. So lock screen and security. You do have Samsung Pass, which gives you the ability kind of to store passwords and credit card information. I haven't used that much. But there's something else here under security settings that I want you to see. So we're going to scroll up here, and you notice that there's a function here that's called Pin Windows. So we're going to tap that. Pin Windows allows you to secure content on the screen. Let me tell you how this works. How many of you have given your phone to someone to look at a picture, or you give it to your child to play a game, and then all of a sudden either the kid is all over the place, or your friend starts snooping other areas of your phone? Well, what this is going to do is it's going to give you the ability to lock things in place. Let me show you how it works. So I'm going to bring up my multi-pane window, and what I can do is, as I'm going down, here's my gallery, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this one. I'm going to get rid of this one for a second. But you'll notice that right here, there's that little pin. If I choose this pin, this area of the gallery is going to stay on screen. And the person will not be able to move away from this screen unless you press and hold the recents key and back keys at the same time. So it's probably not the most secure thing, but not a lot of people know how this works. And it requires those two keys. So a cool feature to kind of control what's going on your screen. Now the next thing is on the cloud accounts. I just wanted to show you. Samsung Cloud has now been introduced, and Samsung Cloud has been around for a while. It was something that's, I think it was kind of almost like a soft launch, but it's very similar to the Apple Cloud, where it stores and it backs up things for your phone. So if I go into it for a second, what you'll see here is you can choose to back up your contacts, your memos, keyboard data. What I typically recommend, because there's other ways that you're backing up I don't really back up my gallery because it's only 15 gig, but I like backing up my memos and my S Note. You can enable this, and as long as you're logged into your Samsung account, it's going to back it up for you as you switch from phone to phone. Now, here's another one of my favorite features on the phone, especially with this update, and it's probably in the most awkward place. So we're going to go into General Management, and we're going to go to Reset. And most people stay away from Reset because no one really wants to reset their phone. But if you go into Reset, what I want you to notice is we're going to go down all the way up to it says Auto Restart. Yes, Auto Restart is a feature that was introduced with the Note 7. And this gives you the ability to restart your phone once a week or multiple times a week. So, you know how sometimes you just want to restart your phone because it's kind of acting slow? This happens to iPhones, this happens to Android phones, this happens to PCs, happens to tablets. Just rebooting it. So what you could do is you can automate the reboot to say, I want it to happen every Sunday. You can then say at what time you want it to take place, and it's going to do an auto restart. Great feature. Happy to see it. It's something that I use all the time. So this concludes the tips and tricks and also what to do after you do your update. If you have anything that I have not covered that you noticed on the phone, please leave it in the comment area below and share it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if there's a cool video on this side that you're interested in, please watch it. Thanks again for watching.